What's up everyone, it's Benedict here, aka BHL Hudson. Welcome back to the BHL2 channel. Today we got something a bit different, a bit unique for you, and by unique I mean something I'm definitely jacking from another channel, but we're doing a bingo card predictions video for the Oscars. Now, what does this mean? Let me explain. This is not predicting the winners for the Oscars. I have a video coming out either tomorrow or the day after where I will go over all the categories, who I think will win, and a few other things that'll be interesting. But this is for the award ceremony specifically, because the actual Oscar awards are a show in themselves. There's often something that goes wrong, or when things are fun, as we see in the center of the screen here, something dramatic can happen, and there are little cliches and stuff that are fun to think about. So I've compiled a little bingo card here that perhaps also you can use on awards night to predict certain things that will happen during the ceremony. Now, to be clear, I also want to say shout out to the YouTube channel Bedtime MMA, who I 100% have stolen this idea from. YouTuber I used to watch who does like UFC videos, and he would do predictions for the events in this bingo card format. But I haven't seen someone doing it for like Academy Awards or for movie stuff. I thought I could transplant that to the movie world, but shout out to him. But yeah, let's do this. Let's talk about some Academy Awards predictions. First things first. Conan is bald in the opening skit. Last year, Conan had a pretty great opening skit. If you recall, he crawled out of the body from the substance. And, they often, Billy Crystal and whatnot, they often have some kind of like fun opening bit where they're in the movies. And I think there will be various references, of course, but I think we will see bald Conan in a bald cap for some kind of Bugonia type of spoof in the opening. So yeah, that's my first thing. Keep an eye out for bald Conan in an opening skit. Next thing, someone appears to be inebriated. I feel like this is, I'm not going to say a guarantee at the Oscars, but certainly something we've seen before. You'll recall John Travolta's Adele Dazeem moment, where he completely butchered the pretty simple name Idina Menzel. And then also the next year when he wouldn't stop touching her face and staring at her in a very weird way. So, not to say he was on something, maybe he just acts like that. That would be honestly more concerning, but yeah, someone's gonna seem to be either a little drunk, or on possibly something. I think there was a bit where Winona Ryder was at an award show and she was looking all over the place in a slightly sketched out way. Yeah, look out for someone to be off their tits, as it were. That's a bit extreme. Someone to be slightly inebriated. Next up we have upset in one of the supporting actor categories. Now, honestly, I put this on the thing before I actually looked at odds for the Oscars, where I realized there isn't actually like a huge favorite, because I was thinking Sean Penn is a huge favorite in Best Supporting Actor, and Tiana Taylor's a huge favorite in Best Supporting Actress. But then I saw that apparently Amy Madigan is like just sort of a reasonable favorite in Best Supporting Actress. So regardless, some kind of surprise winner in those categories, because those are very stacked where, I think Sean Penn probably will win Best Supporting Actor, but Stellan Skarsgård, I guess you could consider that an upset from an odds perspective, and I think you could get a Delroy Lindo in there maybe, maybe even a Jacob Elordi, probably not Benicio del Toro, but maybe. I feel like Best Supporting Actor, there's a lot of chance for some kind of surprise to happen, and Best Supporting Actress, I think you have... It's a very competitive thing, just to sort of say big upset is a bit hard. But I think if you assume either Tiana Taylor or Amy Madigan are going to win, I still feel like Wunmi Mosaku could come in there, or one of the people from Sentimental Value, Elle Fanning or Inga Ipstora Liluos, I'm working on my pronunciation of that, could come in there. I feel like there could be an upset in one of those categories. I'm putting it here. Next up, gag about Paramount Skydance buying the show mid-broadcast. I think, to be fair, this bingo card would have been easier in like a Jimmy Kimmel hosted year, because his jokes are a lot hackier and easier to predict. So, I don't think we're going to see a ton of like hacky Trump humor from Conan, because I've seen clips of him talking about how like he doesn't really do that for whatever reason. But I think, not saying this will be hacky, but I think there will be a bit at some point where Conan or something, gets off the phone and he's like, I'm sorry to tell you, the show has to be changed because Paramount Skydance has bought it, and maybe they'll do some gag about how Paramount, Paramount Skydance has changed CBS or something. They alter the broadcast or censor something. I can see some kind of gag. There'll definitely be reference to, one of the biggest stories in Hollywood in recent memory. And I think there'll be some kind of bit about it. So look out for that. That's on the bingo card for sure. Next up, another Conan bit. I think Conan will make a tasteful joke about the Tourette's situation. Now, normally I could just put, like, some kind of bit about the Tourette's. Like, if this was like 2012 or something, if we had, like, the Seth MacFarlane hosting the Oscars days, you can bet your ass there would be some kind of bit about Tourette's and it would make people very upset. I think Conan, I trust him both to be funny and to find, like, a good way of doing something. Like, that situation is obviously awful. I also think there's, like, inherent absurdity in the, like, insanely awkward terribleness of it, that there's obviously some comedic fodder to be had there. And I think Conan is the kind of guy who can find the balance between that, where he will make some kind of reference to it, some kind of joke about it, that somehow will be tasteful and will not upset, any part of that situation where, again, I made a video about it, everyone's a loser in that situation. Besides the BBC, who kind of suck there. It sucks for everyone there. I think he can find a way to make a joke about it that will actually be funny and not, like, super offensive or anything. So that's going on the bingo card as well. Joke about F1 being nominated for Best Picture. I feel like this is an easy one. It's kind of a standout in that category. Why is it there? Not part of the team type deal. There's got to be some kind of joke about... I mean, Conan's not, like, as much of a, like, roast comic or something as, like, Nikki Glaser or something, but I feel like there will be some kind of jab at, like, how did F1 get in there? Something like that. I feel like that's a pretty safe one to put there. Audience applauds the extra cool dead people during the In Memoriam segment. This is one of my bigger pet peeves with the Oscars and this kind of stuff in general, when, I mean, like, in general, you should not applaud or cheer during an In Memoriam funeral-y feeling type segment, I feel. But especially when it's a series of people who have died, and then it's like costume designer, assistant director, and then it's like big celebrity everyone likes, and everyone goes, woo, yeah, go that person, then dead silence for like the next, casting director, whatever. Super fucking shitty. Like, if you either have to applaud and cheer the entire time for everyone who died and is being honored in the In Memoriam, or you wait until the end, like I feel like you do with most services of this nature, and applaud everyone equally at the end there. But inevitably, they always seem to be like, hey, I knew that guy, yeah, woo, add the most awesome dead person. These other dead people, they can get fucked, but that guy, he deserves my applause. Like, fuck off. But that's gonna happen, so yeah. Putting that on the bingo card, that's a prediction of mine. Streaming services replacing cinemas gag. This is another kind of basic one. I feel like we've seen this a lot in previous award shows. I think, was it the Golden Globes or was it the Oscars where there was it was a pretty funny skit about, it was like the AMC theater ad but it was like a streaming service. Or no, they did that for podcasts at the Golden Globes, where it was like the Nicole Kidman ad, but it was about podcasts. And then I think at the Oscars last year, there was something about like the epic new streaming service where you can see it in like a big room on a really big screen with other people. Isn't that cool? And like, that was a pretty funny bit. I feel like streaming, especially with the Paramount, Netflix, Warner Brothers, whatever stuff, is still obviously a huge conversation piece in Hollywood, and I can see another skit or gag like that being part of the show for sure. Sean Penn crash out I have up next. Yeah, this might sound worse than it is. I don't think Sean Penn, by crash out, I'm not talking a Will Smith style crash out, screaming and ranting and hitting people. I'm talking more like a anti-establishment crash out. Because if Sean Penn wins, which he seems likely to do, I feel like he's going to give some kind of weird speech that's like if you watch his Variety Actors on Actors with Julia Roberts from this year or last year, where he was like talking about how this is all fake, this is all bullshit. He seems like that kind of guy, keeps it real kind of guy, even though he's like a millionaire celebrity or whatever. I don't know how authentic it is. He seems relatively authentic in his grumpy disdain for all this fake bullshit in Hollywood. And I feel like if he wins, he'll give like a nice speech, and perhaps he will also do some kind of vague, like, this is all bullshit, it's about the art and it's not about the statues or whatever. So look, crash out I was just trying to put it on the bingo card, fit it in the square. Crash out's a big term, but some kind of Sean Penn rambling that's slightly anti-Oscar, anti-Hollywood, anti-all this bullshit. Not anti-Hollywood, but you know what I mean. I can see that happening. Next up, at least one physical mishap or injury. Fall wardrobe slap. I don't think we're getting another slap, although that would be hilarious, because that was, I mean, what a cultural milestone that was. What a great piece of like universal conversation we could all have about the Will Smith slap. But I think there's a pretty not consistent, but I think these things happen at the Oscars where someone will trip and fall. It's usually Jennifer Lawrence, or someone's wardrobe will have some malfunction or something. I imagine there's going to be some kind of, obviously not, hopefully not serious physical injury or anything, but someone's going to trip on the red carpet. Someone's, I don't know, pants are going to fall down. I don't fucking know. Something's going to happen that's vaguely amusing and people are talking about related to this. That's another thing on the bingo card. Next up, some kind of Alex Preddy, Renee Good tribute during the show. It is kind of crazy that we don't really talk about it much now, like with the news cycle, the fact that 2 Americans were just fucking shot in the street. But I feel like, I don't know, the Oscars, I feel like last year they did something for the California fires. There's some commentary on, it's kind of hard to not mention it or talk about it at all, especially with one, but we'll talk about one battle after another and its politicalness and another thing I have on the bingo card. But I feel like the Oscars, you know, they will mention societal issues and this kind of stuff, and it was such a big thing, and I think we'll get. I was gonna say they're not gonna be in the in memoriam because that's, you know, for the Hollywood people, but I feel like there might be some kind of mention, tribute in some direction. Someone in a speech might talk about it. There'll be some mention of them, which I think would be great. We move on to Brazilians are upset that The Secret Agent only wins Best International Feature. I think The Secret Agent, you know, I have some Brazilian friends who were incredibly excited that Brazilian movie was, you know, up there for all these awards, and who all love The Secret Agent. And I do think it's only going to take home the one award. I think it'll take home Best International. I don't think Ragnar Moore is going to win. I don't think it's going to win Best Picture. And so I think there'll be some excitement that it wins Best International, but some, like, online disappointment in, you know, comment sections and this stuff from Brazilians who are upset that Secret Agent only wins that. And if it doesn't win anything, if Sentimental Value takes Best International, that'll be rough. That'll be, the Brazilians will not be happy. I can say from the ones that I know, they will not be pleased. Move on to Sinners wins at least 10 Oscars. I think this is a fair shout. I think the most wins any film has had is 11. I think a few films have gotten 11 wins. Sinners broke the nomination record. And as I'll talk about in my Oscar predictions, it is like a very winnable movie, if that makes sense. Like, it has so many different elements that help it. It's a, like, you know, prestigious, well-made movie mixed with, like, a crowd-pleasing movie that everyone saw, mixed with, you know, it has, like, societal, social commentary, mixed with, it has a period piece element. It's like, it's a lot of Oscar stuff in one. It's nominated for a bunch of things that I think it can win. I think it can sweep a bunch of, like, you know, the lower level categories, not to demean those categories, but, like, you know, the more technical stuff, it can get a lot of that. And I think, honestly, as we'll talk about my predictions, it's not crazy to think it might win some of, if not most of, the big ones as well. So I think Sinners will take home at least 10 Oscars. That's a prediction I'm putting on the bingo card. For the record, these predictions are not like, I am sure this will happen. This is more of like these things might happen, and, you know, maybe you cross it off the bingo card as we go. Brutal mic cutoff is up next. Yeah, this happens most years where usually some poor fucking, like, visual effects supervisor is, like, trying to thank his mom, and then, like, the mic just disappears into the ground, or the music starts and you get the big sweeping pulling out shot. Yeah, that's gonna happen for sure. It might, I don't know if it's the next one, but it is. Could also be, like, vaguely censorship related, but I think at the very least there's someone who's gonna be like, and I'd like to thank my childhood friend. They just fucking, like, cut to commercial or some shit. They just, like, move away from that, and the announcer goes like, and no one gives a fuck, moving on to Here Comes Chris Evans. But yeah, someone's getting cut off. It's gonna be awkward. It's a shame. And also, on that note, speaking of, I don't know if this will be mic cut related or edited out of, like, a YouTube video that's posted afterwards or something. I feel like there's going to be some kind of Free Palestine related censorship here. I feel like I've seen clips from so many fucking award shows and various public things where someone says Free Palestine and it's, like, censored, or it's cut out of the broadcast, or the broadcaster apologizes afterwards or some shit. I think there's going to be some kind of censorship or damage control for someone trying to say Free Palestine. I mean, and I assume someone's going to say it in, you know, with the people who have this platform. Hind Rajab is nominated. You know, I feel like there's got to be something, someone can say something there. Even if it doesn't win, it might come up elsewhere. I think someone will do, like, a Free Palestine type of message, which, again, I think is great. They should. And I think there will be some kind of censorship, backlash, backtreading, whatever. We move on to at least one egregious mispronunciation. Speaking of John Travolta and Adele Dazeem and that kind of stuff, I feel like also didn't Spike Lee call him Pong Joon-ho like a few years ago? Is that how you pronounce it? Am I doing it wrong? Or I remember that being like wrong. I think his name is Bong Joon-ho, but I don't know. Maybe I'm the misinformed one. But yeah, I feel like just with these ceremonies, there's a lot of people there. Again, some of them might be inebriated. And, there's a lot of stress, I guess, of being on that stage. Someone's going to fuck up a name. And you got some, speaking from experience, I'm fucking Scandinavian, and I feel like I've been mispronouncing everyone who's in Sentimental Value this entire time, so I feel like that could happen. Let's go with one mispronunciation that is of the egregious nature. Next up, joke about how Hamnet is too sad to joke about. Conan, I think he's a clever comedian, but I think there's only so much, like, when you have to kind of make a little gag about each movie that's nominated. There's not much you can say about Hamnet. I think at the Golden Globes they did a joke about like how like I thought it was spelled Hamlet or so I thought it was spelled with an L or something like that. But I think there'll be some kind of gag about like I would make fun of Hamnet, but I was crying too hard to make fun of it or something like that. I think that'll be like the bit about Hamnet if we get one. Okay, here's a twofer. Here's a 2-for-1. This is how this is not like predictions because these are two antithetical ones. You cannot cross these both off. But either we get a Chalamet win for Best Actor, and we get some kind of weird humble brag in his speech. I'm sure he'll be very humble, where he'll be like, I love my nominees, and I love the art form and everything. And then he won't be able to help himself like he did when he won whatever other award, where he's like, and you know what, losing this so many times made it feel this much sweeter to get it, or something. Something which you're entitled to say, and I respect the ambition, whatever, but something that's just a little bit douchey and obnoxious, and like, by the way, I really wanted this, and now I got it, and that kind of vibe. Something like that will not be like, career ending or anything, obviously, but just like slightly annoying where it's like, you are kind of obnoxious. Or we get the Chalamet loss, which is low-key the one that I'm personally rooting for, just because, I don't know, I veer between liking and not liking Chalamet, but for comedy's sake, I think it would be fucking hilarious if he doesn't win now. And we get a dead inside smile and clap where, not only because, he wants to win the Oscar, but also he's made it such a thing. Like, he knows that it's like kind of tied to him now, that he's trying to win an Oscar for Marty Supreme, even though, he's about the art or whatever, but he's done this he's stood on the sphere, he did the campaign, and if he loses, it would be very funny, and he's gonna hit the, actory, like, yeah, go Michael B. Jordan, go DiCaprio, whatever, but he will be dead inside, and that will be kind of amusing. So one of these two things is gonna happen, in my estimation. We move on to I Lied to You gets a massive standing ovation. This is a pretty basic one. This is kind of like a free square you can check off, but I just think that song, Sinners, is so popular. That song is such a central part of the film. It's a great song. It's tied to like the biggest scene of the year, and I'm sure they'll have some kind of... Actually, yeah, they're definitely gonna... That would be a better bingo card thing to put, like that they're gonna recreate the scene, but they're gonna have like people with the different costumes and the different time periods doing different dances like the scene in the film. I think, yeah, it's gonna get like a massive standing up, like, people, they always clap for the songs, obviously. And I think, Golden from K-Pop Demon Hunters will be like, yeah, very, very nice, very fun. Some people will be dancing in the crowd or whatever. But I think, yeah, I Lied to You is going to be like a big moment of the night, for sure. We move on to Conan jokes about not understanding Timothee's Oscar campaign. Again, I feel like this is sort of a classic Conan bit. I feel like he does some self-deprecating humor about like his age or this kind of stuff, his what generation he's from. And I think there could be some kind of bit in there about how he's too old to understand Timothée Chalamet fucking hanging out with Drewski or whatever, like doing a rap song, he's like, I hadn't heard of SD Kid since whatever, some kind of gag like that. Again, I think Conan's funny and not like a hacky comedian at all. I think it'll be a funny joke, but I think there will be some kind of bit in there about that. We're getting down to the last three here. I actually don't remember what I put here, which order I arranged these, so I'll be surprised as well. But last three on the bingo card. Some kind of fuck-ass betting integration. This feels... Yeah, I don't know if the Oscars... I think they're on ABC, maybe? So I don't know if ABC is as fucked as CBS is. Pardon the language, it just suddenly got really intense after being, like, not cursing at all for the whole video. But the Golden Globes had, like, stupid fucking whatever it was, Kalshi or Polymarket or whatever, whatever betting integration on the screen. CNN there's some kind of partnership with Kalshi with some poll guy or something like that I heard about. It feels like you see betting everywhere. Like, this is not an original take. People have noticed this, but like online betting and these marketplace things. I don't know what the fuck like you would actually, what the technical terms for it. I'm not a betting man myself, thankfully. I haven't gone down that rabbit hole yet, but I feel like I could see there being some kind of like, who will win? And in the corner, there's some fucking stupid like, Chalamet has a 73% chance on fucking DraftKings or whatever. So yeah, I imagine that will happen. I hope it doesn't, but it's on the bingo card. If it were to, you can cross it off. PTA fails to say anything political during his Best Director speech. Yeah, this is an interesting one. I guess we don't have to get too much into it here in this goofy bingo video or whatever, but I have thought it was odd that PTA has won multiple awards for one battle after another and doesn't seem to want to say anything about like the current state of things, which on the one hand, I saw something he said like, the film speaks for me. Like I speak through my film, which I can kind of actually respect. I can appreciate that like filmmakers and artists, they don't want to talk about like the reason that they potentially make movies is to communicate the way that they can communicate the best. I do think though, the fact that you made a movie about like a militaristic authoritarian US government filled with like white nationalists who attack immigrants and all this kind of like, the fact that you made that movie and like it happened like almost word for word, it's like happening around us in real life, like almost to a like absurd degree of similarity, almost like more extreme than the like satirical movie type of thing that you made. To not mention that at all, like when they're shooting people in the fucking street, when you made that movie, like it's not like, there's a whole other thing that was happening with Berlinale where like all these actors were like, I'm not talking about politics, I don't know enough about politics, which I think there's a conversation we had there. I thought that was pretty lame from some of them, but like there's a debate, I guess, to be had about like, should artists talk about politics or whatever? At a certain point when it's like what's happening now, I would say saying like, yeah, I don't know what's going on, whatever, that's kind of a really lame excuse. But point being, PTA made one battle after another. Like this is an incredibly relevant political movie, and to not use the platform when you're winning for that movie to talk about what exactly happened in the movie that's happening in real life, to me, makes it seem a little bit like you're kind of using that as like a thing for your movie, and maybe you don't really care as much in real life. I'm not saying that is the case. That's kind of what it comes across as a little bit. And I feel like he will continue that, especially because I think he addressed it and said, like, yeah, the movie speaks for itself, which you can take. It's one of the better responses you could have, I guess. Like, I can sort of appreciate that, but I still think it is kind of lame. Anyway, that's a prediction from me. Final prediction on the bingo card. Marty Supreme only wins one Oscar. Now, which Oscar it will be, that's up for debate. I think obviously Timothee is favored to win Best Actor, but as we'll talk about in my predictions video, maybe he won't. But I think I could see maybe a Marty Supreme editing Oscar, maybe a costume design, production design, something like that. Maybe a casting. It's not, as we'll talk about. I don't think it's going to win those, but I think it wins one Oscar, but only one Oscar. Which will be like kind of surprising because it was, like one of the big movies going into award season. But when you look at the competition of One Battle, Sinners, even Hamnet in some cases, I don't think it's going to have a great night. And this isn't just based on the fact that I was like tied the record for the most losing film in BAFTA history, maybe it was, some other award show. But that also isn't like not a great indicator of maybe things to come. So yeah, this is my Oscars 2026 bingo card. You can have this along with you as you're watching the ceremony, see how accurate it was. When I'm watching, I guess I will I can cross them off as I go, and when I do an inevitable Oscar recap, I can talk about how accurate this was. But yeah, I feel like there's a mix here of funny stuff, real stuff that's likely to happen, stuff that's maybe not that likely, but if it did, I'm going to look like a genius. So yeah, what do you think about all this? What are your predictions for the ceremony itself and the actual, various awards, but also speeches, ceremony, jokes, all this kind of stuff? Let me know all of your thoughts down below in the comments. While you're at it, be sure to like this video, subscribe. You can check out my main channel, BHL Hudson, my podcast, The Poorly Planned Podcast, my Letterboxd, Real BHL Hudson, and my Instagram, BHL_Hudson. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.